Hello, 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 my beautiful friends, and welcome to this episode of the Secrets of a Witch podcast with me, Sabrina Scott, where I talk about life, love, happiness, healing, magic, witchcraft, tarot, mediumship, and everything in between, as one does, because it's okay to be all the things. And I'm sure I'll probably make an episode about that at some point. As we speak, I have a cat sitting on me, another cat within eyesight, passed out adorably, and I am thinking back to the most dreamy dinner ever that I happily enjoyed last night. If you're in Toronto, I'll give you the hot tip. It is called Richmond Station, and I got a vegan tasting menu, no almonds because I'm allergic, and it was fucking fire. And so honestly, it put me in the best mood. I'm like still daydreaming about it. So good. But as you know, this is not necessarily a podcast about food. So what we're going to talk about today is how being a foodie can make you a better witch. Yes, I said what I said. I know that might sound insane or not related, but hear me out. So those of you who have taken either of my big courses, either Magic Without Bullshit or Tarot Without Bullshit, you will know that I start off both of those courses teaching a lot about energy work and energetic noticing, as I call it, and the importance of expanding our capacity to receive information from the world, oftentimes in the shape of energy, right? It's about expanding our ability to notice the energies and vibes that are floating around us all the time, whether they be good vibes, bad vibes, more complicated vibes, etc. Witchcraft and magic, and I would really argue any type of authentic spirituality, can't really happen, in my opinion, without being able to notice and sense this stuff. But this is especially true with magic and witchcraft and stuff like that, because what is magic? It is about summoning the energy and doing things with the energy, directing it towards something to do something. And so if you can't feel energy, then like, what the fuck? Like, you're not really doing anything. You just kind of have to trust that the magic is working, which is cute, and we can definitely fake it till we make it at the beginning of our practice, 100%. Absolutely not going to judge that in any shape or form. So if that's you, you're all good. I'm not being a hater. You're cool. You're just starting out, and that's okay. But on the flip side of that, I do think it is important to have as a goal for any serious witch to actually be able to feel this thing called energy, to be able to notice what happens when we move it around, to be able to move it around, and to be able to direct it to do the things. So you might be wondering, what the fuck does this have to do with food? A lot. So if you think about the experience of eating, the experience of food, what is happening but a sensory experience? Your body, your mouth, whatever, your nose, your eyes, you're receiving all of this information from the food. The plating of it, the colors, the textures, you can see that before you taste it. And actually our digestion, believe it or not, begins before we even eat anything. It begins with our eyes. That actually activates the whole salivary digestive situation. Believe it or not, you can look this up if you don't believe me. It's a thing. And so when we are enjoying delicious food with so many different interesting flavors and textures happening in one go, we are challenging our senses, our receptive abilities to really discern what is the difference between all these different flavors? What is the difference between all these different textures? Like, oh, this sauce tastes different than that one. Did they use a different type of, like, in my case, like non-dairy plant-based milk? Like, is this one with coconut milk and the other one is with oat milk? Like, how does that influence the difference of everything? And that might sound like a bougie like thing to spend time on, and maybe it is, but I actually don't think so. But ultimately, when we hone our senses and we fine-tune our receptive abilities, whether that's with food or music or whatever, but I'm talking about food today because that's what I love personally, we are training our sensory abilities to discern the subtleties in different flavors, the flavors that we are receiving into our bodies. In this case, the food, and like this is thinking back to my book, Witch Body, where I talk about agency of non-humans and how we are in this kind of mutualistic entanglement being acted upon and acting against other beings. So if you're a bit confused about this philosophy, just read that first book that I have called Witch Body. Check it out. I'm not going to get into the whole philosophy of it here, but if you've read the book, you'll kind of understand what I'm saying, right? About how non-humans, yes, they can act on us. They extend their agency into us, and that is what happens when we eat food. It might seem like we are the active person in, stabbing the thing with the fork and choosing to put it in our mouth, sure, but the food really is acting on us, and we are the receptive, in some ways passive receiver of that flavor, of that texture, of that being into us, right? And so there is this kind of like merging of bodies that is fascinating when we think about food and eating, and that is maybe a topic for another day. But I think it's really important for witchy folks, magical folks, to move with an awareness of all of this stuff. And I do believe an attentiveness and an attention to the receptive act of eating, especially eating like complicated, interesting dishes, can make us more attentive witches, can make us energy workers who have a heightened ability to discern the difference between this subtle energy and that subtle energy in the same situation. And Awa, my co-host, agrees, apparently. And this isn't even, to mention that sometimes energy can come to us in the form of taste. It's called clairgustance, which is very uncommon. Usually we hear about clairvoyance, clear seeing, clairaudience, clear hearing. Obviously, clairgustance is clear eating, clear tasting. And so, sometimes energetic vibes, messages from spirit, messages from the universe can come to us in spiritual kind of phantom tastes, as opposed to visually seeing a spirit or hearing the words of a spirit that has a message for us that they'd like to either have us give to someone else or just for us, for ourselves. And so whatever sensory thing you feel called to expand, I would recommend that you do that. But since we all have to eat every day to continue to be alive, it is such a unique sense that is so different from all the others. We all have to eat. There's like no way around that. Eating keeps us alive. And so it's something that all of us have to do. And so for me, it's this perfect opportunity to practice that energetic noticing, practice that energetic sensing, to practice discerning all these different fascinating flavors and really slowing down the experience of eating. Instead of just inhaling your food in like 2 seconds, why not slow down, take your time, really like allow that thing to like swoosh around in your mouth, like leave it on your tongue, let the flavors wash over you and really experience the fullness of that moment. Really experience the fullness of that experience of eating that thing, whatever it is. Whether you're in a mom and pop hole-in-the-wall spot or whether you're getting like a delicious tasting menu at a fancy restaurant. Both are valid ways to experience the breadth and beauty of food. And, I could go off and talk about this even more and talk about how food prepared with passion and love tastes better than food that someone creates when they're in a bad mood. Like, personally, I won't cook if I'm in a bad mood. Like, I have to be feeling good, in a good mood to cook something for myself, as I don't want to be putting those bad vibes into the thing that I am cooking to then eat the bad vibes. We don't want that. So that's how I feel about this. I feel like I talk about this topic like literally forever, but I will leave it there for now, my friends. I hope that wherever you're at in your witchy spiritual journey of learning more about yourself, learning more about energy, learning more about magic, and opening up to experience the wonders of the world and the full breadth and beauty of human experience and culture, of which food is obviously a part. I hope that you feel inspired to dive into that, even if it's just buying the organic raspberries and also the normal raspberries and seeing if you can discern the difference in taste. Personally, I can discern the difference in taste between organic and non-organic bananas. People don't believe me, but I can, trust me. And so if you're on a budget and you still want to experiment with this, try that. Eat more slowly. Order food with more things in it. Even compare the falafel from this place from the falafel from the other place. It's going to be different. Expand your capacity to notice. Slow the fuck down. And I tell that to my students all the time when I'm talking about energy work and developing energy skills. It's all about slowing down to notice what is going on, what exactly it is that you're receiving. And then you can read that information so much better, so much more accurately. And that is part of the foundation of witchcraft, in my opinion. So yeah, friends, that is all for today. I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you do, please leave me a 5-star review and a little rating with happy thoughts. I would really appreciate it. If you hate this podcast, kindly tell no one. Because why? Just why? Anyway, this has been the Secrets of a Witch podcast with me, Sabrina Scott. You can say hello on Instagram at Sabrina M. Scott. You can creep my website at sabrinamscott.com. And of course, I do have a clothing line that I released like a month ago now. And you can check that out at shopsabrinamscott.com. Bye.